we will talk about your designs, talk about the experiment, and then I will do a test of my design to show you what I want you to do tonight for your homework. So first things first, I got lots of your homework, which is really good. Talk to me about your design. What are you going to do?
I will make a floating house.
Make a floating house. Okay. And how's that going to stop damage to the house?
The floating house is a house that will float when the flood starts to come into that village or city.
Okay. And what happens if the house floats away and floats off a cliff?
The house don't float away from the position of the house.
Okay. So the house is going to stay there, but you're going to build something which is going to keep the house dry. So you're going to build like a stilt house, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, tell us about your design.
I will put some rock and stick to so the water will not get to the house. But I need to put my sticky glue too.
Okay. What happens if the water gets through the rocks?
The water will go into the house and the house will be wet.
Okay. And if the house gets wet, you think that will damage the house?
Yes, because if the water is very high, they can blow up the house. But if it is a little amount of water, it just in the house just get wet.
Okay. Well, we want to try and make sure the house doesn't get wet. Okay. So we need to think about that one. Right. We want to make as less damage as possible. Sal.
My design is to grow many trees over the river. So
Okay.
when flood comes, it will stop.
How are you going to plant many trees in a container in your house to test for tomorrow?
I will make a dam.
Yes, make a dam. Okay, cool. So make a dam. Tell me about your design. Emma.
My design is I will put rocks or sandbags so the flood or water can't hit our house.
Okay, and what happens if the water goes through the rocks?
Sandbags can take the water longer.
Okay, yeah, it might work, maybe. Key, tell me about your design, please.
My design is a floating house.
You tested your design, yeah? That's actually water there. Good job. Okay, so the problem with the floating house is that what happens if the house floats into a wall and smashes into a wall? Will the house get damaged?
Yes.
So we want to stop that as well, right? How can we stop that from happening?
Something that we need to put in.
See, that's what we need to think about, okay? Caroline, tell us, how did your test go? Did it work?
The water is strong.
Water's strong. Okay, so what did you do to try stop the water?
I think I can make a house float house or make a house taller than
The water, taller than the water. Yeah, I think that's the right idea, like making the house taller than the water. That's really good. Lei Kang, tell me about your design.
my design. I have my book of my design here.
Okay, show us. Okay, explain it, please.
Here's the house, and I put the floor and the stick for the house to flow on the water.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, to get it above the water. Okay, that's a good idea. It's called a stilt house. It's called a stilt. That's cheating. I didn't say you could use that. Okay, fair enough. That's fine. Yes, Cindy. Cindy, tell me about your design.
My design is I will after my at the night I was go to find little toys. It's like a ship. So I use it when it's because it can float on the water. So I will put the person on it and it like a ship on the water.
Your design to stop a flood is to build a boat.
Yes.
Well, that's not fair. That's cheating. You can't build a boat.
No, a floating house.
A boat is a floating house.
Okay, I forget.
A boat is a floating house. Okay. Right. Okay.
To make a floating house.
You made a floating house as well. Okay. Well, what happens if your floating house floats off a cliff?
I'm a floating house too. I will like stick it to the ground and it
don't
will go everywhere. It just
Okay.
rise up, but it cannot float away because
Okay.
it's thick.
Right. Okay. So this is what I want you to be sure of. Okay. So remember, you are building a flood prevention device for a small town. Okay. What you want is you want the town to be okay. Like building a floating house. Yeah, it's a really good idea. You need to make sure that the house stays where it is.
Can I make a house with this one? A Lego.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, this is my house. Let's have a look at Louis' homework. I want to see this. Louis, explain this to us, please.
I will put the fork
Louis.
on a
Yes.
foam and stick it to the ground, and I will put a foam and put my house on the foam, and that's all. And when water on the foam flow on the stick.
Aha. Okay, I understand. So
And
you're
the
making.
rope big so it can float. And I tested already. It worked.
Ah,
Test
brilliant.
water.
Good job. That's really good. I like that. That's really clever. So it means that the foam will go up and down with how high the water is. Yeah, good job, buddy. I'm going to show you my terrible design. It's awful. It's really bad. I want you guys to tell me why it's not going to work. Here is my design. Really simple. Here is my little house. Here's Ryan's. Here's Ryan's house. I'm going to use a chopstick at the very top. I'm going to put some tape all the way around. And in the middle, I'm going to have some plastic. The idea is that when the flood comes here, all of the water will go here, and my house will stay dry. You think it's going to work? Hands up, please. Hands up. Give me explanations. Give me reasons why it won't work. Yes, Lewis.
It's 100% don't work because the plastic will be wet and the tape will be wet too, and that will be broken and the house will be wet.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, Mickey, what do you think I can do to stop my wall from being moved by the flood?
I think you need to do a stronger wall.
How will I make it stronger? What can I use?
And you can use more plastic and more chopstick so it can be stronger.
Maybe. Aling, what do you think I can do? What could I put at the very bottom of my wall so it won't move? What do I do to make the wall heavier so it doesn't get moved by water?
You can put a rock on the side to protect the chopstick from falling apart.
Yeah, exactly. I could put something heavy like rocks there. The rocks are going to stop the wall from falling down. Perfect. So these are the things I want you to think about, right? So that when you test your design and when you build your design tonight, I want you to think about, well, hold on, how can I make it better? The point of the test is to see what goes wrong. I saw some of you have tested already. Perfect. If you've done a floating house, you need to make sure that the house stays in the one place. It doesn't move. These are the type of things that you need to do, okay? And that's the point of us testing. So that will be your homework for today. Now, I will test my experiment with you in 10 minutes. I want to go through a couple of other things first, okay? And then I will show you my experiment and we can see together if my experiment works. So you can tell me what's some reasons that floods happen. Pushin, tell me one reason that a flood happens.
Flood happens because it's too many rain.
Yeah, because a lot of rain, okay? So what causes a lot of rain?
By a hurricane.
A hurricane, yeah, a hurricane. Remember we were looking at cause and effect yesterday, right? Looking at cause, hurricane, effect, rain, cause, lots of rain, effect, flood. Something else, Mia, that can cause a flood. No, cool. Leo, what else causes a flood?
Too much water.
Exactly. Too much water from thunderstorms. Anything that releases a lot of water in a very short space of time can cause a flood. Floods can be strong. They can move things, they cause lots of damage, make things float away. And that's what we need to think about. If you can understand why a flood's going to happen, you can guess the effect of it as well. So our experiment to see how we can prevent damage from it. Hannah, sure, what are we going to learn from the experiment?
We're gonna learn how to prepare when the flood came.
Okay. Hacker, if a flood comes and we're going to learn about what are we going to learn about when the flood happens?
Flood will damage all the trees.
Exactly. So we're going to learn how floods damage, okay? And we're going to see, okay, well, flood is going to cause water damage. So we can understand, we can learn what type of damage a flood can do. We'll also see how a flood could cause damage and how to stop it. This is why we test. We test to see what type of damage and how the flood causes damage so that we can try and stop it. The more we can understand about the effect of a flood, the more we can say, well, hold on, I'm going to be able to stop this now. I'm going to try and stop this. I'm going to build a bridge. I'm going to build a dam. Okay. So it gets back to this idea of cause and effect, right? So we looked at this yesterday. We saw that effect was a rainbow. The cause was it rained. Effect was Ryan shouted at me. Cause was you didn't do your homework, right? So that's cause and effect. Think about it like this with a flood as well. So we're looking at cause, a flood, effect would be damage. The more we can understand about it. Who can give me another cause and effect example about weather? How about this for an example, okay? The effect is houses blowing up into the sky.
The cause is the hurricanes come.
Yeah, a hurricane came and it made houses blow into the sky. So you know if there's a hurricane coming and the effect will be that your house is going to fly into the sky, well then what can you do? You can go, well, hold on. I don't want to live in a flying house. I need to make sure that my house doesn't fly. And the same idea with these floating houses, right? Who buys a house and say, well, hold on, I want to live in a floating house. How do you know? You're like, hold on, it's going to flood. It will flood. One of the things that happens when it floods is that houses float away. What do I do? And that's the cause and effect we are learning from this experiment. We are learning, well, if a flood's going to happen, this damage is going to happen. So how do we stop the damage? What do we do in the middle? And that's the point of your designs. That's the point of this experiment. It's the goal of your design. The goal is to prevent as much damage as possible in the case of a flood. So here are some floating houses, as you can see. So who wants to live in one of these floating houses? Well, it does kind of look like fun, but at the same time, I don't think it's the kind of fun that I would really be interested in. If I was sitting down watching TV and the next thing my house was floating away down the road, I don't think I would be very, very happy, to be honest. So again, the idea of this experiment, the goal of your design, the reason for you doing this is to stop things like this happening. You do not want to have a situation in which your house starts to float on the road. That's why we say, okay, hold on. This is why we make a miniature, design a model, and then we try to stop the damage from happening from, okay, here is my container. Here is my, okay, right. No, here, okay. Let's try to put my wall up. There we go. Okay. Down, tape it to the sides, tape it to the bottom, tape it to the side again. Maybe
a little bit more tape. Just to help, see if it can work a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So here is my awful design, right? It's not very good. And I don't want it to work, to be perfectly honest. I kind of want it to not work. So that we can try to figure out how to make it better. So who thinks this is going to work? Anybody have any faith in me that this is going to work at all? Emma, you think it's going to work?
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. At least one person thinks it's going to work. Anybody else think that my design is going to work? Suri, you think it's going to work? Yeah?
Yes.
Cool. Hope so. Right, let's find out. Okay. So we have my house. We have my little car. And we have lots and lots and lots of flood water. Okay, right. Let's go. Sorry, house. I hope you survive. No, no. I now have a boat. My car has turned into a boat. And it's not working at all. Poor house. Worked a little bit. Not very much, though. No. Everybody is wet. And everybody is unhappy. Sorry, house. So, again, have a look. You can tell me what went wrong. What could I do differently? If I am honest, there is more water on one side than there is on the other side. Not that much, but there's definitely more water on one side. What can I do to make this better? Who can give me some ideas about what I can do? What can I do?
Out of iron.
Iron? Yeah, okay, but maybe.
Mr.
Yes, Mingha, what do you think I can do?
built a wall.
Well, I built a wall. The wall wasn't a very good wall. Well, I think I could do better.
But I think you must build a wall by cement.
Build a cement wall. So use different materials to build the wall. Okay. So what I want you to do for your homework today is I want you to do the same as what I've done. Right. I want you to test your design. I want you to think about what happened during your test. And I want you to think about how you can do it differently. So I've looked at my wall and I've gone, okay, I don't think that the plastic and the tape is a good idea. I think water is still getting through. So I need to find a way to stop the water from getting in. And then I need to change my design to make sure that doesn't happen. But what I think I'll do is, like, I think the water will still get in a little bit. So I need to put my house and my car on stilts. I need to raise them up a little bit higher. For your homework, I want you to build your design if you have not done it already and test it like I did today. I would like for you to make a video. Okay? Make a video so that we can watch the video and that we can see how your testing went. We can see how your testing went. We can come up with some ideas about how to make your designs. Also, want you to think about and write down what worked, what didn't work, and what you think we can do to make it better. If I look at my experiment, I'll say, well, what do I think worked? Is like, well, I think the plastic worked because it doesn't come through the plastic. I don't think the tape is the right kind of tape. I think I need to use a different tape. All right, everyone, goodbye. It was fun today. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye.